Dear members of the SDA Church, I don't know if you are a student of the early literature of the SDA Church, a new member or a long-standing member. I have been an SDA for over 50 years, and the purpose of this introductory video, the One Project Get Ready, is to invite you to review the full version that has biblical and prophetic references to assist you in verifying and cross-checking extreme similarities in what is being said to the leaders of all the Protestant churches on behalf of the papacy and what has been taught in our SDA ranks by spokespersons for the newly formed One Project. This One Project is coming to a church, church hall, campsite, conference or other venue near you. Get ready for it. What I hope you will prayerfully discover is that there are startling fulfillments of prophecies from the Bible and the inspired pen for what is happening right now. Many of us may have read the prophecies and positioned them in our minds for future generations. What you will discover is that we no longer have to live by faith that the prophecies in the Bible and developments in our very own SDA Church are future, as we can see the fulfillments now. They are no longer in the future, they are now. We need to pray for God's guidance and involvement in our lives as never before. We will need to review all our personal goals in line with what you are about to discover. We will need to decide what we do with this information. Do we ignore it or do something about it? This video, the One Project Get Ready, does not have any commentary, just a sample of video clips that will be more fully explored alongside others in the full version. Search YouTube for the One Project, what to look for.
See, my wife, when she saw she could be Catholic and charismatic and evangelical and Pentecostal, and it was absolutely accepted within the Catholic Church, she said that she'd like to reconnect her roots with her Catholic culture. So she did. And so I was working in Italy with the Catholic Church. My wife was a charismatic Catholic. My children were going to Catholic school, so we raised our kids Catholic. Charismatics, Pentecostals, evangelicals. Jesus was all of those, you know. Jesus is sacramental. He instituted the sacraments. He did the things that was required of him in the synagogue. He believed in sign and symbol. He used it all the time in his parables. But he was also evangelical because he said, you have to be born again. It is written. He was also the contemplative. He was also the charismatic. How much of Jesus do you want? Do you only want one denomination of Jesus? Jump in, get it all.
But this is the time in which God speaks clearly and loudest, not just to the Adventist Church, but right across Christendom.
We are living in an incredibly important generation. I believe that God has brought me here to this year's Ministers' Conference in the spirit of Elijah. Let me explain. If you look carefully, the spirit of Elijah was on John the Baptist to turn the hearts of the sons to the fathers. And this is about his story, his story, because God is doing something. I walked in after, I'm jumping the gun, and we know that Elijah will come before the second coming as well. And I've understood that the spirit of Elijah is the spirit of reconciliation, to return hearts to each other.
Some of us have come to engage in a new conversation. Some of us are bored and simply looking for something new. Some of us are tired and want to connect with people and ideas that can give us a renewed focus, move us past burnout, and bring meaning and passion back into our calling and into our communities and into our families. And all of these are valid reasons for being here. But let me tell you why I have come. I have come because the conversation in Adventism needs to be elevated. It needs to move beyond ecclesiology and lifestyle. It needs to be elevated above denominational politics and evangelistic growth strategies. The conversation needs to transcend institutional priority and move into a different space, a different place. And that place is Jesus.
We know that the first 1,000 years there was one church, it was called the Catholic Church. And the word Catholic means universal, it doesn't mean Roman. Catholic means, if you're born again, raise your hand if you're born again. You're a Catholic. Take back, redeem what belongs to you. We are Catholics. And then there was the split at the end of the first millennium. We had the Orthodox, East and West, two churches. Then 500 years later, we have Luther and his protest. Three churches in 1,500 years. Three denominations, not three churches. And then, from Luther's protest onwards, 33,000 new denominations. I've come to understand that diversity is divine. It's division that's diabolic.
I want to be the same as you, so that together we might elevate the conversation within Adventism. That we might elevate the study of Christ and move it away from a we are right, they aren't kind of hermeneutic. Elevate our worship beyond discussions of genre or instrumentation into the realm of dwelling and abiding in Christ. Elevate our pastorates so that they no longer function in deference to the myths that we can't or they won't let us, and they become Christ's apocalypse to their communities. Elevate our mission beyond our institutions and into the realm of Jesus Christ. Elevate our preaching and our teaching to a deeper sense of truth as evidenced by deep devotion to Jesus Christ above and beyond anything else in the world.
It's true what you were saying about the glory. I agree with you, of course it's true. The glory that the Father had, he gave to Jesus. The glory was the presence of God. What is the charismatic renewal? It's when we experience the presence of God. And he said, and I give them the glory, pragmatic reason, so that they may be one. It's the glory that glues us together, not the doctrines. It's the glory. If you accept that Christ is living in me, and the presence of God is in me, and the presence of God is in you, that's all we need. Because God will sort out all our doctrines when we get upstairs.
I love that Jesus is inside here, inside this room here. When you look at your tables and you look at the people sitting at tables, Jesus is in them. Jesus is living in you. Look at the people around you. Look at the good in them. See Jesus inside them. This is what it is. We have one church. We have one gathering. And we have one Jesus. This is why we're here. And in fact, the main part of what happens here in the One Project is actually with your recalibrations that you...
Nothing can quiet a room down like the word doctrine. Say it with me. Doctrine. It's such a cold sounding word, isn't it? It sounds like something that you would etch into stone. Doctrine. It sounds like a swear word to some people. Oh yeah, well you're just full of doctrine. Doctrine. It sounds like a place where really good ideas go to die. Doctrine. Yet, if truth be told, there are over 700 people in this room gathering together in Seattle because somewhere down the line, each of us individually decided to believe certain things about Jesus that other people in the religious world would take issue with. So here we are, talking about the D word.
Famiglie che si uniscono e famiglie che si separano. E noi siamo un po', mi permetto la parola, separati. Separati perché i peccati ci hanno separati, i nostri peccati. I malintesi nella storia, ma una lunga strada di peccato comunitario. Ma chi ha la colpa? Tutti abbiamo la colpa. Tutti siamo peccatori, soltanto uno è giusto, il Signore. Io ho la nostalgia che questa separazione finisca e ci dia la comunione. Io ho nostalgia di quell'abbraccio di qua.
My dear sir, thank you so from the bottom of our hearts. All of these leaders represent literally tens of thousands of people that love you, that believe God with you, and in answer to your request, we have just prayed for you and with you, and we did so in the Spirit. And we believe we receive, according to the words of Jesus in Mark 11:24, that whatsoever thing you desire when you pray, believe you receive them, and you shall have them. Our desire, sir, along with you, is in the 4th chapter of the book of Ephesians.
And the great book for us as a church, unfortunately, is not the book of Revelation, and it's not the book of Daniel, because we're already good with Revelation and Daniel. The great book for us as a church is the book of Ephesians. Ephesians is the great book.
Till we all come in the unity of the faith and of the knowledge of the Son of God, unto a mature man, unto the measure of the stature of the fullness of Christ. Thank you, sir. We do bless you. We receive your blessing. It's very, very important to us. And we bless you with all of our hearts. We bless you with all of our souls. We bless you with all of our might. And we thank you, sir. We thank God for you. And so, all of us declare together, be blessed. Once again, all together, be blessed. Amen. 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 Hallelujah.
I think you're going to have to come to the Vatican.
I will. I'm available. Praise God.
For such cooperation to be possible, religious bodies, including institutions linked to the Catholic Church, need to be free to act in accordance with their own principles and specific convictions based upon the faith and the official teaching of the Church. In this way, such basic rights as religious freedom, freedom of conscience, and freedom of association will be guaranteed.